Welcome to our bold analysis, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much for supporting this. We are at 25,000 subscribers, and we just want to thank God that, of course, this is happening. This is real. So yesterday, Deputy President William Ruto released the manifesto, the much-awaited manifesto. And of course, yesterday I was a little bit busy because, as I said, I am at home. So we are trying to run some errands. But I have taken time to go through the 65 chapters of that document. And there is very interesting gaps that I have actually identified there. I want us to look at. But I was so keen trying to follow the proceedings of that manifesto. Of course, you can measure between what Kenya Kwanza did and what Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance did. Who do you think got it right? And in terms of percentage, how can you give them percentages? That is something you can think about. But if you ask me, I think the speech was too long. It was too worded. And Deputy President took better part of his 2-hour speech, if I'm not wrong. I think it was more than 1 hour, to explain what, according to me, would just be nothing but policies. Is it a manifesto or is it a policy statement? Policy analysts will tell you that majority of what is there are just politics, are just policies. But I want to explain that it was politics. In my understanding, manifesto is going to constitute 5%, or not even 5%, let's say 3% of your voting population. The people that are going to vote for you based on manifesto are slightly above 3%. But what do you think? Was it by coincidence that Wajakoya's manifesto was released alongside William Ruto's? Today in the morning, I was in the middle of Siaya town, and I had a chat with the boda guys around there. But everyone else was talking about two things: the fact that Raila will be in Siaya tomorrow, and secondly, about Wajakoya's, I don't know, the populistic or tractional manifesto. So, of course, one thing you can make, there was a deliberate attempt, or there was an attempt to make sure that the media attention is divided between William Ruto's manifesto and Wajakoya's manifesto. At one point, if you are watching Citizen, you will realize that there was a split screen. And someone shared with me a screenshot. There was a split screen where Wajakoya was on the other side and William Ruto was on the other side. So I don't know, because that is a very precarious situation. William Ruto team would want to complain, but it is not very easy to go and complain in public that our airtime was shareable by that of Wajakoya. And of course, remember, this is normally a public interest content, so everyone else will go, whether you paid or you did not pay, but the attention of the country will be driven towards that particular agenda. So, ladies and gentlemen, I observed the tone of that manifesto, and I can tell you for sure that it was a replication of the statements that are normally made on top of cars. I have pointed out some very 5 aspects, observations from that manifesto. So kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell, and also like our video. When you like our videos, it is through that we are also promoting this channel. Now, I pointed out different chapters, but there are 67. I have it, and you can get your time. Can also get your time and look at it. I looked at the chapter that was talking about governance, and in governance, I was asking a question. There was the question of ending state capture. Ending state capture is what, according to Kenya Kwanza, one of the ways to address the issues of was one of the ways of making of having an input on the effective governance. And this was specifically pointed out to give an opportunity to criticize President Uhuru Kenyatta. And I can tell you the tone of a statement there: weaponization and politicization of the fight against graft. These are the same statements that William Ruto has been pointing out in rallies, that the fight against corruption was only targeting individuals. So I dare ask, is that a proposal? And if there is something on governance, ending that, it's more of a policy that is governing, or policy that is going to control operation of a law, perhaps in the state agency, in the judiciary, or in the legislature, something that can work with state corporation. So looking at that, you can really see that this is someone who was just seated down to address Uhuru's criticism. Just find the opportunity, because they knew very well that the cameras were focusing on them. It was an opportunity to point out what, according to them, is what the president has not been doing. But I was also looking out for this. William Kabogo was insisting that before they signed the MOU with the UDA team, or rather with Deputy President William Ruto, there was a promise in writing for 1 man, 1 vote, 1 shilling for Mount Kenya. I have gone through the devolution page, what they are saying they will do for devolution, and that 1 man, that aspect has been dropped. And the question of capitation to counties based on the based on the population is not there. In fact, what they have addressed, which according to me is positive on the other end, is timely reimbursement, or timely payment, or rather reimbursement of the county funds. Now, disseminating county funds, of course, there have been reports of delays, and these are some of them have been caused by friction in the government agencies. But if you look at it critically, you will realize that Deputy President did not want to directly talk about that issue. And I have been asking that the BBI had a very good pitch on how Mount Kenya was going to benefit, and the other parts of the country that maybe are not highly populated, but they are vast in terms of size. And the argument is very easy. You cannot go and pour money in a place where, because the place is huge, even if population is down. So that is something that was actually there. Kenya Kwanza team have totally goofed in the women pitch. The women narrative is unrealistic. Saying the truth, that narrative is unrealistic. How? There are 3 aspects that are there, and they are not unrealistic in the sense that it's not more of, it's a policy, or rather it's a pledge that it is new, of course, but it's not well. I want us to look at this too. Social welfare fund for the diaspora women. So I want to ask a question. If you want to address a social welfare fund, why would it be that that money goes specifically to diaspora but women? Because if you look at it critically, the people that are out of this country, and maybe people who are working out of this country, when you talk to them, one of the problems that they go through is a situation where they're putting up investments home, they're using families, maybe they're using friends, and their funds are being swindled, are being siphoned in projects that do not see, or rather the projects that do not materialize. This is one of the biggest problem, where mtu anajenga nyumba home, he's been using the relative to do that, but the relative just picks that money but does not do the project, or they even lack opportunities or ways or finding trust to invest back home. So however much it is a good idea, but I feel limiting it to diaspora women is a bit just for politics options. And I don't know what was the wisdom behind that, because look at even the issue of access to affordable cooking fuels. This one, if it is about the price of fuel, looking at what the Kenya Kwanza team had been doing before, the empowerment programs was giving the women some gas cylinders. So this was done, and this was tokenism. This was just giving them something. And can you give the Kenyan women that way? As a government, do you think government can say that as we are going to procure, according to the last census, okay, let's use the register as a parameter to know the population of the women in this country. Let's just talk of the 11 million, or rather the 10 million people in the Kenyan in the voters register. So the 11 million women, even if you are to give 5 million, how much will it be to procure gas cylinders to give to 6 million? Because looking at it, unless they mean something different, but operationalization of such projects is quite unrealistic, because they are also budget estimates. I think, and I look at this and I said, this was just meant there to target someone, target some group, while however it is not something that would be at government radar. The prices of fuel have global impacts, their global influence to the prices of fuel. But if William Ruto doesn't win this election, then he becomes the opposition leader. So when you look at a situation, there is one of the chapters he mentioned about the operationalization of the office of the leader of opposition. This office does not exist in our constitution. However, and you can challenge me whether it was existed in the new constitution. However, the truth of the matter here is this is a creation of William Ruto. First, they will use it as a campaign tool and say that in our manifesto, Raila Odinga should not fear not becoming president or not being in the presidential circle, because for one, we are going to have an active office of the leader of opposition. Now, this was meant strategically as a campaign manifesto. And it is a campaign manifesto that is targeting pro-Raila voters, that there should be no fear that if Raila doesn't be in government, then that is going to be the end of it. But there are few lessons that Ruto seems to have grabbed. Quick, transformative, eye-catching promises. And one thing I realized last time, there was a pledge on the stadiums, and there was the pledge of the laptops. So he has dropped those, because those ones are, even 9 years ago, someone is still talking about where is our laptop, where are the stadiums. So what he has realized is he doesn't want to go for it. And one of the things that was quick, transformative, and was setting himself a trap was the issue of free Wi-Fi. I can tell you this, the Kenyan youth in 2027, if Ruto would win the presidency and become the president, they will be asking William Ruto, where is the Wi-Fi? These are things that, according to me, would have really gave William Ruto headache. However, I totally agree with the national skill funding. The national skill funding, the idea here is the merger of HELB and TVET, so that they upscale the uptake of loans, or rather the accessibility of the loans, or rather grants, to both university and tertiary institutions. That honestly is something that is in order, and whoever forms government should consider that. The creative economy is what they are calling the digital superhighway. It's a good one. The digital superhighway is the best, because actually Kenya is at the digital takeoff. So on that, I think they totally got it very right. However, the big question is operationalization of whatever is being promised there. And lastly, this is an argument that has also popped up. Martha Karwa's incident in Kisii stole the limelight. He's been trending for, I think, the better part of yesterday and today. And kidogo ilifunika mambo ya mambo ya manifesto. So what do you think? That's my question.